Hello and welcome to Module 5 for EDCI 5700 for the spring 2026 semester. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'm already into the module. The photo I'm sharing is one I took on a President's Day road trip a couple of years ago, February 2023, and that's of Wheeler Peak in Great Basin National Park in eastern Nevada. So we'll go ahead. You're watching the introduction and instruction, which will be updated by the time you get in to the module. And then the assignment is to read chapters 5 and 6, which focus on quantitative research, quantitative data analysis, and three guiding questions as you read through it. Both chapters is what evidence is missing that should be collected, could be or should be collected. What assumptions are being made that need generalizable evidence for support? And that word generalizable, that is very important to quantitative research because we use bigger samples, bigger populations when we collect quantitative research and when we do the data, especially with a sample. And that's why random sampling is is a very good method design, maybe the top level design for quantitative. And then when you have that random sample, it's a random selection out of a group of a population. And then because of the nature of it being a randomized selection, then you can generalize to the bigger population. And one thing as you read research, as you read dissertations, as you read articles, see if the authors generalize their findings to a bigger population. Um, Sometimes when you go through things and sometimes when you especially with a survey, your response rate isn't the greatest, and when you run the data, it's not very generalizable to the bigger group. But that doesn't mean it's bad. It's a bad study. You just need to say that the findings are specific to the group of people who completed the survey. Then the final one is what assumptions are being made that need to be categorically refuted. So those are some things to look at, think about when you go through chapters 5 and 6. And we'll go back to the chapter 5 page. We've got the PowerPoints here. And for chapter 5, and let's see here. Get this so here are the learning objectives from Creswell and Guterman for chapter 5 is the first one, state the 5 steps of quantitative data collection. Second one, identify how to select participants for a study. Number 3, identify the permissions needed for a study. And these permissions, that's very important. The uh, uh, the ethical pursuit of research, following the rules and regulations, especially in education, where we may be doing research on minors. And it's very important that we follow the IRB process. And one thing for you to think about, especially with underage students, minor students who are in preschool all the way through senior year in high school. It's very difficult to do random selection of those groups. And the best example why is I'm a parent of a child in a math class, and you've got there's this great new way of teaching math, and there's a random selection, and my child gets into the old way. And now I'm not happy because my child doesn't have an opportunity to learn the new way. And that shows you, this example shows why it's very difficult to do random sampling and um, true experiential research design in education. The fourth one is list different options for collecting information for a quantitative study. Number five, locate, select, and assess an instrument or instruments for use in data collection for a quantitative study, and describe procedures for quantitative data collection. And quantitative data collection, you collect the data from a survey or another quantitative design, and that's where you go in and you analyze it with statistics. Close that. Now we'll go to for chapter 6, which is it goes into the analyzing of data. And let's see if I can get this. Hold on a second. My mouse has run out of gas, and to get another mouse out. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, so for chapter 6, the learning objectives are number one, identify the steps in the process of analyzing and interpreting quantitative data. Number two, describe the process of preparing your data for analysis. Third one, identify the procedures for analyzing your data. Number four, learn how to report the results of analyzing your data. And number five, describe how to interpret the results. And so those are the learning objectives. Let's go back to the home page for this module. And the next thing is I have a YouTube video on reliability and validity. And those are probably the most important um, concepts in quantitative research. Reliability means that those who have completed your survey, those who have completed your instrument, that what the data you received from them is reliable, that it is correct, and that if you ask them the question a second time, they're going to give you the same answer. So it's consistency, and that's reliability. Validity, basically, the straight to the point definition. Validity is you're asking the right questions to the right people. You have the right questions, and you have the right sample, the right population of which to implement your instrument. So then the next thing is post your module reflection. And I will have mine up by the time you get in here. And then the last one is complete the module quiz. And it is suggested that this module be completed by March 1st. And as we're getting into this module, getting toward the end of February, we're also starting to move toward the middle of the semester, the midterm. And around March 1st is the deadline that your qualitative article, your draft qualitative article, is due to your partner. So, as always, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to let me know. Thank you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.